think it's close to 30 now.
Is Taiwan one of the 30s?
And one of my besties was actually from Taiwan. He kind of blew my mind.
So you knew Taiwan.
It gave me a desire to come to Asia, to get to know Taiwan. And however, life took me in a different path. I fell in love with hot pot.
Hola chicos, 我是 Adele。今天邀请到一个非常特别的来宾，非常好的朋友 Tada。
I'm Tada. I was born in Brazil. I also spent a big chunk of my life up north in the USA. Now I travel the world and I met this lady here. We're currently in Indonesia.
Bali.
We met in Brazil.
Yeah, and then hopefully soon we will meet
Taiwan.
in Taiwan.
I'm coming Taiwan.
How long have you been living in US?
It was a total of 20 years between moving in and out because I also lived a little bit in China.
Right,
So
we're gonna get to that. You've traveled to a lot of different countries.
I haven't counted recently. I think it's close to 30 now.
Have you been to Taiwan? Is Taiwan one of the 30s?
Actually, not
Oh,
yet. But it's coming. I feel it.
It's coming. Even though you haven't been to Taiwan, but I heard you had some early connection with Taiwan. Is that correct?
Actually, it's so crazy because it was even before I went to the USA. I think I was about 14 years old and I was studying English already in school. However, it was poor level of education for English where I was at. But it was back then that I started interacting with people from outside of Brazil. How did I do that? It was through chat rooms. I started making friends within the internet with people from around the world. And one of my besties was actually from Taiwan.
He was in Taiwan?
Yeah,
right.
He was born and raised in Taiwan. He was also my age and inside of the chat room talking to people from Latin America.
What?
And my English was very basic back then. You're from Brazil. Yeah, from Taiwan. Like, how is it there? So there was an effort in learning from each other. But he kind of blew my mind because then he explained, what Taiwan is like. And
So you knew Taiwan like since you were so little?
yeah, it gave me a desire to come to Asia, to get to know Taiwan and its surroundings. However, life took me in a different path.
Different paths.
So I haven't made it there, but I really feel like it's coming.
It takes time.
Yeah.
Did he tell you or share about Taiwan?
I remember him talking about being surrounded by water, being in a country that is very related to business as well, people being kind, rich in culture.
Right.
That is why it became an interest for me. And then later on, fast forward to 2010, I went to China to teach English as a second language.
How long were you there for?
Just short of 6 months.
So it's some time.
Yeah. Just to give you a backstory, when I went to the US, I didn't know any English. I mean, it was like short sentences. I learned English. Within a year, I was speaking. I put effort into it. I actually, for the first 3 months of my stay there, I had a mini dictionary.
Oh, yeah?
So when people asked me questions, I was like,
Hold on.
你有在看手机啊？该不是那个 Secret Book 大家有在说的那个吗？
Of course，而且里面有包含5个实战练习，真的帮助我的英文口说很多哎。
那是多少钱啊？
这个价值至少$250，不过现在免费。
啊，免费。I've also heard that this guide helps you to expand your vocabulary, improve your listening skills, and improve your daily conversations as well. By the end of this guide, you're gonna have a clear direction of speaking English, my friend, just like I do. Woo! 赶快下载，在 link below.
I would say like 2 words and they're like, oh, okay, I get what you're saying.
I think that's also super helpful because you see the word and then you say it right away. And then that's like an instant connection from your brain, from the words.
Exactly. And I feel like today there's so many more tools between apps, like translator, immediate translation, and then online courses that are really helpful for people. So it's really great.
How long did it take you from not knowing a lot of English to knowing and then finding comfortable speaking?
Got to the US, I could form some sentences and make some sense.
Yeah.
And then I would say within 6 months. Don't get me wrong, it was still like not perfect grammar. However, I felt people could understand me more.
We could also understand other
Yeah.
people. 6 months is kind of like a sweet point. 6 months is really the time that comfortable being here in this environment and also like to be able to speak to other people.
Because I think that's kind of like, when we're babies and we're like hearing so much, we understand things we don't speak yet, but we're like, okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, you're talking about me now. Then you turn a corner and it's almost like, wow, people are understanding me. That's It's so cool.
Speaking of language, what about your Chinese? Because you spent 6 months in China, right?
Yeah, okay. No, oh my God. So
You know some.
I know
but you
some.
Know
I mean, I know how to say hi and 你好, 有jiao, nana. Now I have to pick my brain. You could have said this, give me a heads up, and I would have remembered more. I would be able to order food, take a cab. You know, remember, this is 2010. It feels like ages ago. The thing is, when I was there, people really wanted to speak English with me.
Oh yeah.
So
That will happen kind of similar in Taiwan.
in Taiwan. It seems like I was one of the first foreigners that I've ever met.
Which city were you?
I was based just right outside Beijing. Considered small town for that area and not a lot of foreigners around. So when they learned that I was a foreigner, they immediately they wanted my contact. They asked me for English lessons. They were super great hosts. So they would want to treat me to dinner in order for us to spend some time together and then speak English the whole time. Honestly, I didn't learn much Chinese, but that's another reason to come to Taiwan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you go to Taipei, I'm sure still some people will be like, from Brazil, you play soccer.
Yeah,
you know,
it's the first thing, actually worldwide. We're from Brazil, Neymar, football, soccer.
Zumba.
There's a little bit more to Brazil than just that, just so you know.
So what was the life like in China?
It kind of blew my mind a little bit. The setting that we were in was very simple. The neighborhood was simple, and not like today, coffee shops.
Westernized.
Yes, westernized. I feel like I truly have the Chinese experience. Looking back, I never thought to go to Asia and explore, but that was my first step into understanding that Asia is such a beautiful place. Just nature related, it really blew my mind. I would go hiking at mountains and go find myself inside of caves. I was a teacher there, so the parents of my students, they were always so willing to take me to places. So yeah, the experience was excellent, and I definitely am looking forward to going back. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So being so close to China, and now I'm in Indonesia, I've gone to Thailand as well. So how is Taiwan kind of compared to these countries around that I've mentioned?
I feel like Taiwan is a bit mixed, influenced by Chinese, Japanese. Last year, I went to Japan for the first time, and then I was so surprised how similar Taiwan and Japan are. I didn't expect a little bit of everything. I think also because of the history. So.
That makes me more excited to come visit, really.
Yeah.
I left Brazil because I understood that there is a whole world out there. And the more I travel, the more I am in love with learning different cultures and how to relate to humans. So it just broadens my horizon, opens my mind.
Did you have any culture shock when you were in China?
A little bit, yes.
Yeah.
Because, we were sent to a small town of 600,000 people.
That's not big.
That's really big to me. But back then, I was already living in the US. My city had 60,000 people. The culture shock was in relation, Brazilians are very touchy and hi and and I didn't feel that then, but I felt still really welcomed.
Right.
A little bit of shock of how the whole school system worked as well, how intense and strict they were. Kids were in school all day, so we started classes 8 a.m. We had a lunch break, we had a little time for rest, and then they came back at 2 p.m. and then they were in school until 6 p.m.
How old were they?
So my children, they were 4 to 7. They were just the cutest.
Yeah.
Our first ever class was for them to pick their American name. And you wouldn't believe how many Johnnies I had in my class.
John, I bet you have a lot of funny English name as well.
Lots of Jakes, Johns.
Apple?
I had Apple.
Candy?
Candy, Apple. But English is truly the key to help people to advance in life.
And also to just expand the mind.
It changed my life, that's for sure.
It changed my life as well.
You know how we communicated. We met in Brazil, but it was all in English. I remember when I met you and you're like, oh, you speak English.
No Portuguese, please.
Her Portuguese is actually good.
I understand a lot more. So now you have traveled to so many countries. What would be your next upcoming countries that you would like to visit?
Before I used to think like I don't want to repeat any countries because I want to see the whole world and there's so many out there. Now I understand that, you know, I'm building relationships and connections and I'm working a little bit as I travel as well. So I'm repeating countries. I'm going to go back home to Brazil and head to the US because that's where I lived. And then I'm spending a lot of time in Egypt. But I'm coming to Taiwan.
For sure.
Will you host me?
Of course. We all have a small home in Taiwan,
Can
but
we have some hot pot?
oh yeah, yeah. So tell us your favorite food in Asia or in China.
Actually, it's my favorite food period. I fell in love with hot pot. And do they call it huaguo?
Yeah, 火锅
Kind of, you know, cook your own thing. The taste, the spice. I love spices.
sauce. And
Yes, it's so fun. And then culture of like sharing and giving and eating together, making a mess and eating a lot.
Taiwan, we have so many different kind of hot pot. You know, all you can eat, super fancy hot pot or super local one, all kinds. So tell us when you're coming.
Oh, okay. Well, towards the end of 2025, I should be in Asia again. How about we make plans for around, if you're there around November, December.
Let's talk about it.
Yes, exactly.
So a lot of people who are watching the video, they really want to go exploring the world, but maybe they are not really familiar with the English language. Do you have any advice for them?
Put an effort into learning at least the basics because your experience is going to be completely different. This has allowed me to not only meet people from all around the world, but actually offer work with. I advise you to make an effort. My tip for you is to try. Go for it.
And don't be afraid to try.
Yes, definitely.
And I think also try, but you don't have to think like, whoa, I have to try like the whole sentence or whole paragraph. Just start with even just words, right?
Absolutely. People will also see that you're putting in an effort. Most people are going to help you, are going to want to teach you.
Yeah.
So like being fearless is going to be number one key, trying an effort and just, you know, just
And
go
then
out
you'll
there.
go, you'll find a way.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you so much, Tana, for coming. And then I'm so glad that we get to get together and spend time in Thailand. Hope to see you soon. So if you like our video, click the thumbs up, subscribe the channel, and leave the comment on whatever takeaway you have.
Yes, thank you guys.
Bye bye, Taiwan 见.